This week the chip world tilted again. Samsung's profit exploded on AI demand. TSMC's 2nm fabs sold out before they even opened, and the Dutch government stepped in to seize the control of Chinese-owned chipmaker. What's behind the headlines? Money, power, and the race to control the world's most strategic technology. Stick around, because this is the episode where everything connects. You're listening to Chips Weekly by Diana. Let's start with Samsung's comeback. Story number 1. Samsung's AI-fueled comeback. In sales this week, Samsung delivers the kind of earning guidance investors had almost forgotten was possible. After 2 painful years of oversupply, the company expects its highest profit since 2025, up more than 250% year-on-year. The catalyst? AI servers. Demand from hyperscalers is driving DRAM and HBM prices higher, and Samsung is right in the sweet spot. Executives say they'll double down on HBM4 development and expand their AI chip R&D hubs in India and the US. A clear signal they are gunning to reclaim the high-end memory crown from SK hynix. AI has turned memory from a commodity into a strategic resource, and Samsung's comeback prove that the shift is real. Story number 2. TSMC's 2nm breakthrough. Across the Taiwan Strait, TSMC has once again reminded the industry why it sits on the top of Silicon Pyramid. The founder reported record high quarterly profits and lifted its full-year outlook, crediting exceptionally strong AI demand. Even more remarkable, its 2nm capacity is already sold out through 2026. Inside Fab 20, engineers are running the first risk production wafers on the new N2 node. It's TSMC's first use of gate-all-around nanosheet transistors, a radical geometry that boosts power efficiency by roughly 30% and enables denser logic blocks. With Apple, NVIDIA and AMD already lined up, TSMC isn't just meeting demand. It's shaping the next generation of performance itself. Story number 3. NXP and chip sovereignty moment. Meanwhile, in the Netherlands, the European chip landscape took an unexpected geopolitical turn. On October 12, the Dutch government invoked emergency powers to take control of Nexperia, a semiconductor company owned by China's fintech technology. The move came under the Goods Availability Act, citing national security risks. Why this matters? Nexperia is closely intertwined with the supply chains of NXP, Semiconductors, the Dutch automotive chip giant with Europe's broad ambitions for self-reliance. By installing temporary government oversight and suspending Chinese board control, the Hague effectively drew a line in the sand. Strategic chips will not be left vulnerable to foreign influence. For NXP and its ecosystem, this underscores a new era, one where corporate strategy must align with state strategy. In Europe's playbook, industrial policy and national security are now the same chapter. Industry spotlight. Chips as leverage. From Samsung's profit surge to TSMC's packed production lines to Europe's tighter controls, we are seeing the global shift in how countries treat semiconductors. Not a long time ago, chips were just parts that made devices work. Now they're both money and power, a form of currency and diplomacy combined. AI has turned computing power into national asset, and every country that can make, package, or control chips is racing to secure its share. That's why we are seeing so much coordination and competition. The US expanding its CHIPS Act incentives. South Korea and Japan speeding up the new fabs construction. And EU tightening control over key suppliers like Nexperia. Innovation and sovereignty are now intertwined. For the first time, semiconductor supply chain itself has become a battlefield. And one fights not with the weapons, but with the wafers. Coming to the chip of the week. Our chip of the week is a process that represents the cutting edge of human engineering. TSMC's 2nm N2 node. What makes N2 historic isn't just the size, it's the architecture. The shift to gate-all-around nanosheets represents the old FinFET design and gives engineers much better control over how electricity moves through the chip. The result? High performance, lower leakage, and dramatically better energy efficiency. Engineers describe it as a movement from pushing electrons through the pipes to guiding them through the tunnels. N2 will debut in products from Apple, NVIDIA, and AMD, starting in 2026, powering AI training, edge computing, and even consumer devices. For TSMC, it's more than just a node. It's a validation that the foundry model can still out-innovate every integrated competitor on Earth. And with the entire capacity already sold out, N2 isn't just a technology, it's a trust. Every wafer coming off those lines is a promise that the Moore's law still has a heartbeat. And that wraps up this week's Chips Weekly by Diana. If you enjoyed today's deep dive, hit subscribe, share it with your network, and connect with me on LinkedIn and X. Diana on Chips. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay curious, stay sharp, and as always, stay chip aware.